here with today is a very special day. Today is a very special day because we are being joined by some very prominent members from the East African cricket, I would say from the East African cricket heritage. Now, interestingly enough, both of them are sporting Kenyan outfits or they represent Kenya in one way or the other. And what we're going to do is to start off, first of all, I would like to welcome you from wherever you are joining us. And we do have a bit of housekeeping. So that we have, some kind of decorum, we would kindly request that when you're not speaking, kindly unmute yourself. And then when you're going to speak, you're going to you mute yourself. And then when you're going to speak, you kindly unmute yourself. And for those of you who have done Zoom meetings before, you can always raise your hand if you have a question, and we shall take that into consideration. If you're going to leave your device for any amount of time, kindly ensure that you switch off the video if you're going to go and have a cup of tea, a cup of water, something. And then when you come back, you can put the video back on. Basically, those are the two things that are key. And like I said, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Your issue will be addressed immediately. And so without any further ado, I would like to welcome each and every one of you. I believe this is the second session of this Cricketers Forum. There are many things happening in the world of cricket at the present moment, many things happening in the world of sport, but today we're going to focus on cricket and especially East African cricket. Welcome again. My name is Chris Kamau. I'll be your moderator. And because the country in focus is going to be that of the Republic of Kenya in East Africa, I would like us all to remember that, bear in mind that this is about Kenya. And first and foremost, the Kenya national anthem is actually a prayer. So let us first of all bow our heads for about a minute or two, just whichever faith that we're in, just to give a moment of silence before we begin with the Kenya national anthem. Let us bow our heads. Thank you very much. And from wherever you are joining us, we welcome you to this session. Like I said, the focus is going to be on the Republic of Kenya, which is undergoing some very interesting times at the moment. And Kenya has a very rich history, especially in the sport of cricket. We're going to be joined by some very illustrious individuals during the course of this session. But first and foremost, I am now going to hand over the proceedings, of course, to the gentleman of the hour, who is going to give us a history of cricket in Kenya. This gentleman is none other than a gentleman who has very many hats, and we're very honored and privileged to have him with us here, if indeed he has joined us. And this is none other than Senior Counsel Sharad Rao.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Thank you. You want me to start?
Yes, you can, sir. Proceed.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for asking. Thank you, and thank you for asking me to speak to you. And in this series of very well organized by Raza and his team, I'm very glad to be part of it. And let me begin by telling you, which of course you all know, that Kenya is famous for its dominance in athletics. But my fame is, or rather was, more as an administrator than as an athlete. The only athletic qualification that I can claim is having an athlete's foot, a ruptured Achilles tendon while playing tennis, a tennis elbow while playing golf, a frozen shoulder after falling off a bicycle, and a broken nose while playing cricket. There were two highlights in my infamous cricket career. First, when I played way back in 1954 for Shell Sports Club against the Nairobi club. I was a leg spin bowler, but the captain, who had not seen me play, thought or was informed that I was a fast bowler, and he asked me to open the bowling. It was a total disaster. I was hit all over the field, and chasing a big score, we collapsed, and we were all out for 6 runs. Yes, 6 runs in reply to Nairobi club, but we gained a place in the Guinness Book of Records, which not many do, for the lowest score in cricket. My second highlight was captaining a Nairobi Gymkhana side against the Indian High Commissioner's 11. It may have been sometime in 1968. It was arranged at the High Commissioner's request because the Nawab of Pataudi was in town. And because the Nawab was playing, we charged an entrance fee of 20 shillings, and a sizable crowd had turned up to see the match. The match was to start at 9 a.m., but the Nawab did not show up. We sent the High Commissioner's driver to look for him, and he found him at New Stanley Hotel with Sharmila Tagore, the famous Indian film actress who had arrived that morning. It was the month of July, when in Nairobi, we have light showers. I used it as an excuse to delay the start by pretending that the wicket, a new wicket which we had recently installed, was wet, and we needed to wait till lunch for it to be playable. The Nawab turned up and opened the innings for the High Commissioner. The very first ball went into the wicketkeeper's hands. The wicketkeeper was Hassan Ratansi, who, as you know, played as a wicketkeeper for Kenya over a long period. He intentionally dropped it. A few balls later, Pataudi, who seemed to have developed an affinity for Hassan's gloves, played into his hands again. Hassan did his best to drop it, but the balls straight put in his gloves, and Pataudi was out for 0. So I told the High Commissioner that the crowd had come to see Pataudi play and not to watch him and me play. So I told him to put on a few more runs and declare that I would do the same so that we could play the second innings. In the second innings, Pataudi scored 41 glorious runs and won the hearts of all the fans, and more importantly, that of the film actress Sharmila Tagore, who had turned up to see the match. And he later married her. It is said that marriages are made in heaven, but not all, I should think, because sometimes, as in this instance, it was made on a cricket field. But let me come to the topic at hand, the history of cricket. Of all sports the British gave birth to, cricket is the one which the English claim and the world accept is their natural game. Cricket was a source of much comfort to the expatriate Englishmen. The British colonialists looked to cricket, books and games to provide them the consolation by which they came to terms with what they considered hostile culture and climate of their dominions and colonies. Clubs were the main focus of their social life. Some were so devoted to their club that they spent days in its library and the evenings in the bar. Those naturally were racially exclusive, even in India, where they could work at ease in the society of their own race and those whose habits and customs were the same as theirs. Through cricket, the Englishman could recreate memories of life in England. As one historian put it, wherever Her Majesty's servants carried their victorious arms and legs, wind permitting, cricket was played. Its most dramatic conquest was in India. There the Indians, rather than concentrate on the English to quit India, played cricket with intensity and enthusiasm. And today, cricket is India's national sport with no parallel. What was once played only in the big cities penetrated deep into the countryside. The young play it wherever they can, even on the streets, and the old men and women watch and follow it with passion, so much that it has vanquished sports like hockey, where India was once the acknowledged world leader. The top cricket players in India enjoy an iconic status, otherwise reserved for Hindu gods and Indian film stars, and they appear on highway billboards, on television, and the media. The first mention of cricket in India was in 1721, when the British sailors played a match, of course, among themselves, as playing with Indians was unthinkable, as we were not yet civilized enough. The match was played in Cambay, a port situated in the north of Surat. With that, cricket established itself along the coast of India and made its way inwards. The first cricket club outside of England was the Calcutta Cricket Club, which was founded in 1792. Thus, cricket was first played outside England in India. The first important cricket match played in Kenya was played 100 years later, in 1899 in Mombasa. In 1910, it became a regular three-day fixture between officials and settlers, an exclusive European fixture. Sports in colonial Kenya were, as were schools, hospitals, clubs, hotels, restaurants, and residential areas, all divided on a racial basis. The national body in charge of Asian cricket was the Asian Sports Association, which was founded in 1912. And European cricket was controlled by the Kenya Congolese Cricket Club, which was formed in 1927 and played exclusively among themselves until 1933, when an annual three-day fixture was initiated by E.P. Navroji, Asians versus Europeans. The E.P. Navroji was the father of those who know Firoz Navroji, who is also a senior counsel and quite well known in Kenya. Navroji was a good cricketer and a good tennis player. In fact, he died of a heart attack while playing tennis at Nairobi Gymkhana. That fixture was the most important annual event played between Indians, Asians, and Europeans in the cricket calendar, and remained so for 32 years. The first match played outside Kenya was by Kenya in 1914, when they visited Uganda and beat Uganda by 5 wickets. But the 50s was an important period in the development of cricket in Kenya. That's when they saw the formation of the national body and the Umpires Association to help run the game in a more structured manner. The players were Indians and Europeans. The local Kenyans had not yet taken to cricket. The first international match in Kenya was played on 1st of December, 1951, between Kenya and Tanganyika. And the first outside team to visit Kenya was from Natal in 1952. In 1966, Kenya became a member of the East African Cricket Conference and participated in its annual quadrangular tournament, which included the 3 East African countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanganyika, and Zambia. The tournament was played in each of those countries by rotation, and Kenya won 9 of the 15 competitions between 1960 and 1980. That fixture and EACC's good standing with ICC brought recognition when in 1975, East Africa took part in the first World Cup in England. Kenya provided 7 of the 14 players in the East African team and also the manager. A number of Kenyans were also selected to play in that World Cup as part of the East African side, and again in the inaugural 1979 ICC trophy. India toured East Africa in 1967 and played a 3-day match against Kenya, which was drawn. Several teams, especially from India, visited Kenya thereafter and came quite regularly. and we saw in action eminent cricketers from India, who included Pataudi, Gavaskar, Vishwanath, Vadekar, and Kumble. In 1971, Nairobi Gymkhana, which was then known as the Suleiman Virji Indian Gymkhana, invited the Cricket Club of India to come to Kenya. I was the president of the Suleiman Virji Indian Gymkhana at the time, and I went to meet Raj Singh Dungarpur, who was president of the Cricket Club of India, to agree on who would come in the team. I recall that while we were discussing, a young man appeared at the entrance and he asked to see Raj Singh. When Raj Singh returned, he asked whether we could include that young man in the side. At first, I said no. But Raj Singh told me that that young man will be the best all-rounder India will have ever seen, whereupon I agreed. And that young man was Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev, on his first appearance in Kenya, hit an enormous six, which went over the entire ground and onto the road, and that is what earned him a place in India's test team. Same can be said of Afridi. Afridi, who performed a similar feat for the visiting Pakistan side, and which earned him a place in the Pakistan test team. It was on the occasion of the CCI's visit to Kenya that I, as president of SVIG, the Suleiman Virji Indian Gymkhana, announced the change of name of Suleiman Virji Indian Gymkhana to Nairobi Gymkhana. By 1982, Kenya was playing under its then governing body, which was the Kenya Cricket Association, the KCA. They played in 5 ICC World Cups under the Kenya Cricket Association between 1996 and 2011, the highest number that any sporting body in Kenya had played internationally. Also by then, cricket was, as I had said, played only by Indians and Europeans, except for one lone Robert Bresson. We were joined by local Kenyans. I remember, I think in 1981, and the players who joined us were Steve Tikolo, Thomas Odoyo, Colin Subuya, Kennedy Otieno, and Martin Suji, among others. And they performed spectacularly, domestically and in the World Cup and all the ODI matches. But what was described as the most startling upset in the history of the World Cup was when Kenya bowled out the ICC World Cup champions, the West Indies, for just 93 runs against Kenya's 166 runs, which Kenya won by 73 runs. Kenya's Maurice Odumbe took 3 wickets for 14 runs in 4.1 overs and was declared player of the match. Another great moment for Kenya was in South Africa, and that was against India, when Kenya scored 246 runs for 6 wickets and dismissed India for 176 in 46.4 overs. In that match, Kennedy Otieno scored 64 runs for Kenya. Also to be remembered was a fantastic spell of bowling by Asif Karim, who took 3 wickets for 7 runs in 8.2 overs against Australia, a match that we lost, but earned Asif the distinction of being named man of the match. And that spell by Asif attracted no less than 24 million viewers on social media. In February 1994, Kenya hosted the 5th ICC trophy in Nairobi, in which 20 associate member countries participated. Kenya did well and reached the final, finishing runner-up to the UAE. And in so doing, Kenya qualified for the 1996 World Cup, along with the UAE and the 3rd-placed Holland. Kenya then played at home against India A in August 1995 and went on to South Africa in September, October the same year. Kenya participated in yet another ICC trophy in Malaysia in 1997 and finished second to Bangladesh in an entertaining final. And for their dominance, they earned themselves the ODI status and automatic qualification to future World Cups. The country saw a lot of international cricket as a result of its ODI status, and also playing against test nations in the lead to the 99 World Cup. In 2003, in South Africa, Kenya again made history. It made the world to stand and take notice when it became the first and the only associate country to reach the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup, beating test nations like Zimbabwe, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Now, looking back, names such as those of Ramanbhai Patel, G.B. Jhala, Blaise Dikuna, Jabba, Hassan Ratansi, R.B. Patel, Kanti Shah, Ghafoor Ahmed, Mahmood Ali, Mehboob Ali, and Zulfikar, and two outstanding European players, which some of you who were in Kenya at that time would remember, Dawson and Pringle. Those names may mean nothing to the present-day cricketers, but it is they who kept the Kenya flag flying in cricket. Such was the dominance of Ramanbhai in particular, that he could well be called the breadman of Kenya. After Ramanbhai emerged Jawahir Shah, rated as the most formidable batsman of the 70s. Jawahir was a household name and captained Kenya and Nairobi Gymkhana. He retired prematurely in 1978 when he was right on top of the game. Other cricketers of note include Virender Desai, Harilal Shah, who captained the Kenya team at one time, Ramesh Patel captained the International Cricket Conference Trophy, and another cricketer of the 70s was Nasur Virji, a dashing all-rounder who played for Kenya between 1976 and 1982, and also captained the national team. Nasur's younger brother, Najib, now settled in Canada, was also a top all-rounder for the national team for many years. Deepak Chudasama and Hitesh Modi represented the Kenya team in the Cricket World Cup in India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Deepak Chudasama and Kennedy Otieno broke the world record with an opening partnership of 225 runs against Zimbabwe in that same tournament. Chudasama and Otieno were jointly named the Sportsman of the Year in 1995-96, respectively. And Asif Karim's son, Irfan, who is also a cricketer and a good cricketer of note, and whereas he's in the UK, he also has played and plays for Kenya. Among the six, we had Dr. Ranjit Singh, Gurcharan Singh, Mota Singh, Jasmeer Singh. These were the prominent six in cricket. And after retirement from active cricket, Jasmeer Singh played an active part in cricket administration, as did Bashir Maulada, and in later years, Sharad Ghai, and also Jimmy Rayani, who, as you know, also served on the ICC board. Subhash Modi, we just said hello to, is the only Kenyan recognized as an international umpire, and he makes us proud. International squabbles in Kenya, in KCA, and discontent among players led to the collapse of the Kenya Cricket Association, which was disbanded in 2006 and resulted in the decline of Kenya cricket. Cricket Kenya, which took over under the chairmanship of Jackie Jan Mohammed, following that collapse and those wrangles in the Kenya Cricket Association. But Kenya's cricket did not recover. Recently, with the intervention of the Minister for Sports, Mrs. Amina Mohammed, a new constitution was adopted, and the elections were held under it, and it saw what we recently talked about, Manoj Patel from Mombasa emerge as the new chairperson of Cricket Kenya. We hope that under him, Kenyan cricket will regain its lost glory. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senior Counsel Sharad Rao. That was very, very, very illuminating. To think that actually the origin of East African cricket is actually Calcutta, to to cut a long story short, and that has been a very, very, very insightful account of East African cricket, and one that is very balanced and devoid of any political connotations, which is something that is very, very important, because sports and politics should always be separate from each other. And thank you very much for that, sir. Thank you for your service to this nation. And now we shall move on to one of the gentlemen that was mentioned earlier on by Senior Counsel Rao was Asif Karim. You heard about the 24 million views. And now we're going to have a little bit of an insight into the Karim's sporting dynasty. There's a documentary, there's a coffee table book, which is also available on Amazon, Google Store, and also for those in Kenya, there's a platform called Mudurwa. So without any further ado, let's have a look at the Karim's sporting dynasty.
I've got a question. Chris, Mr. Chris Kamau, I have a question for Mr. Sharad Rao.
Oh, okay. Please hold the video. I understand that Mr. Modi has a question for Mr. Rao. Please proceed, Mr. Rao, Mr. Modi.
Dear Mr. Respected Sharad Rao, thank you very much for highlighting the cricketing history of Kenya. One thing you forgot to mention about Sharad Rao, Chairman's Invitation 11 versus KCA at Nairobi Gymkhana on the official opening of the newly laid grass wickets. Now, this subject was discussed when Mr. Madhubhai Patel and Mr. Praveen Hindocha hosted a dinner party in my honor in London a couple of days back, and where I had an opportunity to meet some of the Kenya and East African cricketers like Narendra Thakur, Jagu Shah, Harshad Patel, Satish Patel Senior, Raju Patel, Hitesh Modi, my son, and another few club cricketers. So there was a discussion, and Harshad Patel remembers that he taking 14 wickets and Sudhir Shah took also 12 wickets in a very interesting match. So if you, Mr. Sharad Rao, can you please highlight something on the newly grass laid wickets at Nairobi Gymkhana when you were the chairman of the club?
Yeah, I as chairman was very keen that we should turn to, we used to play on mat, as you remember, and I was very keen that we should turn now to turf wicket. So we laid the first turf, as you say, in that particular year, and the very first match that we had. And I think I opened for the, I don't know whether it was the KCF or for Nairobi Gymkhana, and unfortunately I didn't score much. I think I was out in the first over or so, not having ever played on a turf wicket. But yes, I had the distinction of starting the first turf in Kenya, and I think it's been very successful. But if you ask me now to remember what exactly happened in that match, I'm sorry, Subhash, I will not be able to.
Mr. Sharad Rao, I think we have Mr. Harshad Patel also here, the former Kenyan cricketer.
Yes.
He played that game and he remembers that match clearly. And we did discuss during our dinner with Madhubhai Patel and some of the cricketers. Harshad Patel, if you'd like to throw some light on it. Harshad?
Yes, I'm listening. Yeah. Mr. Rao, I distinctly remember that match. It was at Gymkhana, and it was Sharad Rao, the president of Nairobi Gymkhana or SVIG, whatever it was there. And that wicket turned out to be such a turning wicket. If you pitched outside the leg stump, the ball went into the slips. And I think it was a very turning wicket. And I used to bowl left arm leg spinners. And I had pleasure of taking 8 wickets in that match in the first inning. And Sudhir Shah, who Jawahir's brother, he was also playing in that match. He was in the opposition. And he took 6 wickets in the first inning. And it was a 3-day match. In the second inning, I took another 6 wickets. And Sudhir Shah also took 6 wickets. And that match, instead of ending in 3 days, ended in just 2 days.
That's true. Correct.
That's the match I remember, and I've got a couple of pictures of those match which are in black and white, and they were taken out from East African Standard. It's got a print at the back that it's copyright East African Standard. That's the only thing I remember about that match now.
But let's have those photographs, because we have archives in Gymkhana, and we have the history. Yeah, we can put it there.
I tell you, in the picture is Don Hunt, Jarnail Singh, Arvind Amin, Dr. Shashi Patel, Zulfikar is there as well,
Mahmoud Qureshi.
Mahmoud Qureshi and others, but in the picture there are only few of them, So I got two pictures of that, and I showed to Subhash Modi when he was with me recently. I'll definitely send it to you.
Thank you, Arshad.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. In the interest of time, we shall now move on to the video of the Karim, the Sporting Dynasty. If it's ready, kindly run that video, so that now we can go into the session with the man of this evening. Thank you.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
Thank you.
In March 2012, the port town of Mombasa in Kenya honored the late Yusuf Karim by naming a road after him.
First time he met this guy with, he's fit, pretty dark skinned, very good pair of legs, stocky legs, and he could run forever.
When he was just 17, Yusuf Karim won the men's singles title of the Mombasa Residence Tournament.
This is the first tennis racket that he purchased from Datu auction for 5 shillings, got it fixed.
The following year, Yusuf won a double crown and then a triple crown in the succeeding year.
A secondary student becoming a course champion, it was a big honor.
The history of tennis in those days is governed very much by the Europeans.
I remember him from about the mid-50s. And that also at what was then the Nashri Sports Club. He was one of the leading sportsmen there.
He was interested in driving that ball.
And whenever Yusuf would not score runs, his father would have a word to say to him.
Most that has been talked about is against the MCC, when Mike Watkins came in, 1957-58, around that time, and he played glorious cricket against them, and was immediately offered county cricket. Yusuf Bhai was born in the wrong country.
In spite of being married to a famous sportsman, Nurgis Karim never got a chance to watch from the stands when her husband played tennis.
No, not allowed. Ladies na jai chua.
Yusuf played tennis at a time when Asian players encountered signs like this. Ironically, he had defeated the top European players of the day and was well respected.
He partnered Jane Davis, who was one of the top players in those days, and they were paired as mixed doubles partners. And in the men's doubles was Nalin Shareta, who was his very good old friend, and of course the singles. So they did very well in the mixed doubles, having finished as bronze medals.
In 1977, Yusuf Karim played his 25th final of the Mombasa Residence Tournament against his eldest son, Arif.
Just imagine, right? At 43, you are still able to carry what you were doing in your 16 and 23 and all that.
I remember my first tournament was in 1977, August. It was Nairobi Club. I had never even seen a Maram court. I was just under 14 in the Kenya Open semi-finals. And Kush and myself met for the first time.
His biggest asset was his mind.
Asif won the Mombasa Residence Championship when he was just 16, matching his father's record at the same age.
Asif, his game was centered around
his ability to manipulate the ball as a craft.
Just like his father, Asif was also beginning to excel at cricket. Asif was then selected for the Kenya cricket team.
I mean, I was so impressed with this boy. I mean, his flight, at such a young age, Asif was selected, and I took the opportunity of phoning his father and telling him that Asif has been selected.
Asif played with the Kenya team in the 1986 ICC Associates Tournament, where Tom Tikolo became the first player of African origin to lead the national cricket team.
Everyone's holding that up and they cannot believe it. Well, I'd like to see that replay. Well, the Kenyans definitely thought they'd got Sachin Tendulkar here. Must have just come off the bat, but definitely the decision going in favor of the batsman.
He was out. He put in a edge at 99th, caught by Subhash Modi's short leg. He was out.
And that's it. Inside edge onto the stumps. Samuel Kofi goes. That's the end. Kenyans are elated.
Well, it's like, the national football team, the Harambee Stars, beating Brazil at a World Cup tournament.
Then it's spinning away. That's got to be out close. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well bowled. Quicker delivery after having spun a couple. Fizzed in the quicker ball. Caught the skipper by surprise.
So on the fifth ball, I said, let me try him the arm ball. And I come in and deceived him with an arm ball. And then the rest was history. I mean, you get a player that has been dominating cricket for a lot of years. And really, it was a pleasure to get Ricky Ponting.
Asif added further credentials by qualifying as an arbitrator and also continued to be a vocal advocate of the government's role in sports.
You look at the way the ministry is at the moment. You have a ministry of youth and culture and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end comes a small word called sports. How can a beautiful country like Kenya, that has produced world stars over the years from athletics to football to cricket to tennis, cannot have a ministry of sports on its own? There is something seriously wrong. And it's high time now, with the new dispensation hopefully coming in 2013, that the government then must ensure that we have a ministry of sports on its own with a huge budget.
Growing up, their sons and daughters all represented Braeburn in various sports. Irfan already had his sights set on the Kenyan team.
I remember as a kid, I would play him on the garden where we were staying in Westlands, and then take him to the club and bowl to him and all that. And you could see that the guy had the neck.
And I always remember my games at Braeburn because we were so competitive and we enjoyed all of them.
I saw his son play, and I called Asif straight away. I said, Asif, you've given birth to a lion cub.
While still in school, Irfan was playing cricket for the Kenya team.
It was my debut against Andhra Pradesh when Kenya took them on in a 3-day game. But then as the day went on, I found myself staying at the crease, getting runs easily.
Any batsman who can pick the fielders, can pick quick wickets, and he hits the ball hard, I think he's the future of this country.
These are the innings you remember, and it's a grand final. Oh, and he gets 4 runs to finish the game, and that's that.
Cosmic K's Irfan Karim. If Irfan Karim can come up and get the Man of the Man trophy, and to give it to him, it's Tom Tikolo, Chairman, NPCA.
Trying to look now not on an individual basis, but more on a Kenya team basis to try and work well with the team, and hopefully we can start winning more matches and hopefully qualify for the 2015 World Cup in Australia.
Yusuf Karim's achievements are immortalized by this road named after him in Mombasa. As the achievements of his family spread across the sporting world, who knows how they will be remembered in the years to come.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Thank you very much for that presentation. And again, the Karim's A Sporting Dynasty is actually available on Amazon, Google Store, and also on Moderator. Now we're going to move on to the spotlight profile and interview. And the gentleman of the evening is none other than Mr. Subhash Modi. Mr. Modi, are you all set, sir? Subhash, Mr. Modi. I'm looking for Mr. Modi. Mr. Modi. Oh, I think he's left us for a few minutes, but he should be back soon. He is the gentleman that we're going to be focusing on. Once he gets back, we shall be able to proceed with the rest of this evening's itinerary.
Hi, Chris. Just excuse him. He's just gone for a toilet break. He should be
Yes,
back.
I understand. But he's back with us again. Thank you. Mr. Modi, how are you, sir? Good evening. Can you hear me loud and clear?
He needs to unmute himself.
Yes, you need to unmute yourself, sir. Is he aware that he is on mute? Mr. Modi.
Chris Kamau.
Okay, yes, and we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
So you, sir, happen to be the gentleman who is the spotlight profile for this evening. And you're the subject of the interview. So you're the star of this session. So if you're ready, we can proceed. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready, Mr. Chris Kamau.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Subhash Modi. Now, the first thing I'd like to ask you is, when did you first develop a love for the sport of cricket as a young lad, and who was your true inspiration?
Yes, my inspiration for cricket, noble game of cricket, started in Zanzibar when I was schooling at ESM school. As a schoolboy, I used to go and do scoring for Hindus sports club in Zanzibar. And there were some good cricketers coming from Dar es Salaam, namely John Solanki, Adi Patel, Sidi Patel, and our Zanzibarians, Harji, Gajendra Doshi, and those cricketers inspired me to take up this noble game of cricket, because it really gave me a lot of inspiration and encouragement by watching them.
And what was your early life like in Zanzibar, and when did you migrate to Kenya from that fabled Isle of Spices?
Yes, I spent my childhood in Zanzibar, as I was born in 30th March 1946 in Zanzibar. I was educated at ESM school, and I had a lot of friends, cricketers, and we used to go and play at Mnazi Moza cricket ground with tennis ball. And I must say that I had wonderful life in Zanzibar, beautiful island, like a paradise. And I moved to Kenya in 1959. That is nearly over 60 years. And I'm living in Kenya. And I have no regrets of having migrated to Kenya.
Okay, and when as a young cricketer in Nairobi, which cricket clubs did you play for? And of these clubs, did you have any preference, and what motivated you and challenged you and brought out the best of you in your talents as a cricket player?
Yes, I was delighted to play for various clubs in Nairobi, competitive and social cricket, namely Surat Cricket Association, Ungara Sports Club, Pangani Sports Club, Premier Club, Zoeb Taibji's 11, and Nairobi Lohana Youth League, which I captained the team for 14 years. But I must say that I got a lot of encouragement from Pangani Sports Club, Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, Nagara Sports Club, Mr. Jenti Patel, and from Premier Club, Mr. Rasik Patel, who was our captain and one time a former chairman of Kenya Cricket Association. And Rasik Patel used to really encourage young cricketers to take up cricket seriously, because in those days, cricket was played with a lot of discipline, dedication, and sincerity. If a player does not attend 3 nets in a row, that is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, he was likely to be dropped for the weekend matches.
What, in your humble opinion, led you to be considered as being suitable to represent Kenya in regional as well as international cricket competition? And what was it like to interact with the world's most accomplished and highly regarded ICC match referees and umpires, as well as meeting with various heads of states during the course of your cricket career in various capacities?
Yes, actually, I'll be honest with you. It was a great moment for me to represent Kenya as a cricketer as well as an umpire. You know, we all must feel proud. There are so many cricketing personalities at the Zoom meeting at the moment. Some wonderful cricketing personalities, some are umpires, some are very good cricketers, and also officials. Let me tell you one thing, cricket, the noble game of cricket has given us a lot of wonderful opportunities, meeting wonderful people, heads of state, but I'll go step by step. I had the honor of umpiring with the world's best umpires. I was in the company of world's best match referees. To name few, Darrell Hare, I umpired with him in Scotland between Pakistan and Scotland. Alim Dar, I umpired with him in Dubai. Hari Haran, Kenya versus Bangladesh series, and few others. Dave Orchard of South Africa also had opportunity to officiate my first ODI in Kenya versus West Indies, and many other leading Kenya international umpires. And I also had the honor of umpiring in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Malaysia, Dubai, South Africa, England, Scotland, and Ireland. And after my retirement from active umpiring at ICC, Mr. Qasim Suleiman of Africa Cricket Association made me ICC regional match referee for 2 years, and I had the opportunity of match refereeing in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, and Ghana. And also ICC gave me very good opportunities for the umpiring seminars in Malaysia, Dubai, and Botswana. Also, I had the opportunity of officiating matches when I accompanied Premier Club on a cricket tour of India and Sri Lanka, Pangani Sports Club on a cricket tour of England, Seychelles, and Mauritius. And I had also was given an opportunity by Mr. Qasim Suleiman, the CEO of Africa Cricket Association, and Mr. Hussein Ayub, originally to train umpires in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Seychelles. So that was, I would say, a great honor, not for myself and my family, but also for Kenya as a whole and the cricketing world. Because you see, in cricket, we learn from each other, and by sharing knowledge, it's like giving somebody a welfare knowledge in cricket. And then I had the opportunity and honor of meeting our late president, Honorable Daniel Arap Moi, with the Kenya cricket team at the State House before the team and all the sportsmen leaving for Commonwealth Games to Malaysia. That was a great honor. And Then I had the honor of meeting the King of Malaysia when late Mr. Jasmeer Singh gave me his book, which he wrote on cricket in Kenya. And the King of Malaysia was very delighted to receive this book from Mr. Jasmeer Singh in Kuala Lumpur. And then finally, I had the honor of meeting Queen Elizabeth at the Buckingham Palace. Last week, we were at the Buckingham Palace, and that was a different scenario. Last time in 1999, all the match officials, cricketers, ICC officials were given an opportunity to meet the Queen, where she hosted a party in the honor of the World Cup, all the World Cup participants. And this time we were not allowed in, because we were just like tourists.
Thank you very much, Mr. Modi. Now, wow, rubbing shoulders with royalty, rubbing shoulders with heads of state, and the best in the world of cricket in terms of even umpires and referees. Now, you have a very unique distinction. You're possibly one of, if not the only person on record who actually, you have that experience whereby as an international cricket umpire, you featured in 3 official one-day international matches, and with your son, Hitesh Modi, as an international cricketer. An experience that is truly one for the record books. Kindly give us an insight onto that, sir.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Mr. Chris Kamau. You see, when I was appointed by ICC to officiate the 3-day match series, I was a little bit concerned. But when I flew to Scotland to officiate ODI match between Pakistan and Scotland, and after the game, I was having a chat with Mr. Dara Hare, the Australian umpire. And I asked him, what would you do if your son was playing in ODI match and you were appointed? And then he guided me. He says, if it was him, he would send an email to ICC and seek their blessings. So I did the same thing. I took his advice and guidance, and I sent an email to ICC, and they gave me the blessings. So I was happy, and I did officiate the game. And prior to that, the first game at Secunian Club, I also umpired Kenya versus West Indies. But thank God I didn't have to give my son out. There was no decision. But against during the series, Kenya versus Bangladesh at Nairobi Gymkhana in 2006. In the first match, I had to give my son out, bat and pat. And second game, I had to give him out LBW because he was plumb out LBW. Though nobody is happy when a batsman is given out LBW. So
that is true.
So that one sort of has become a unique cricket record.
And one that is definitely one for the books. Now, after 40 years in the world of cricket, you chose to retire after 40 years, having served in various capacity. Is there a specific reason or set of reasons that led to this momentous decision?
Well, that is another good question, Mr. Chris Kamau. You see, I have been enjoying cricket umpiring, meeting wonderful people around the world, keeping myself fit because of umpiring. Every Sunday, I'm on the ground. And I felt when I was in Mombasa to celebrate my 75th birthday with my family members, I thought now the time has come for me to retire. And my grandson and my granddaughters were saying, now, Dada, it's time. You take back seat. Now you retire. And also family members were also requesting me that I should now call it a day in my umpiring. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, it was a hard decision, but I think it was the right decision. Hard decision, but the right decision, but no regrets. I had a wonderful time umpiring for 40 years. There was never a dull moment. Every moment I enjoyed umpiring with Kenya umpires. I had also enjoyed umpiring with the world's best umpires, meeting different cricketers in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and world over. So no regrets at all. The noble game of cricket has given us a lot of opportunities, meeting wonderful people. Now I have met you because of cricket. I have met Asif Karim because of cricket. I am meeting everybody because of cricket, you know.
Hard decision, but it was a tough decision, but a hard decision, but one that you felt you were ready to make. And after 40 years, I mean, that in itself is you know, as long as you're doing something that you love the sport, you love what you're doing, you're benefiting from it in terms of health, in terms of enjoyment, in so many ways, and you're able to pass on that same love of sport to your son. I guess it was well worth it. Now, do you regard any Kenya cricket team or teams as being exceptional? And were there or are there any cricket players in particular that deserve special mention?
Yes, there are a couple of things. I am sure you'll bear with my time a little bit, because there are a lot of historical moments in cricket in Kenya. The first one, Tom Tikolo led our Kenya team to the finals of ICC Trophy at Ruaraka Sports Club in 1994. And that is where Kenya entered the world short international arena in cricket. Second one was Maurice Odumbe's wonderful captainship against the two-time world cricket champions at Pune in India on 29th February 1996. He was the man of the match. In that game, brilliant bowling performance by Martin Suji and Rajabali. You know, they opened the bowling attack, because we had a lot of critics that Kenya will not score more than 30 or 40 runs against West Indies. But Kenya proved everybody wrong, because on that day, I think Kenyans were not working on that day, because every time the wicket falls, the bars, the restaurants, the clubs, there are a lot of cheering going on that day. Even me, I was working at Ogilvy and Mather. I was given off, and the director, creative director, told me to come into his office and watch TV and watch this game, you know. I'm sure many people will remember this, including yourself. You must have watched that game. Okay, and then Maurice Odumbe was the man of the match in that game, supported by other bowling performance like Asif Karim. The other moments, Asif Karim, brilliance, captainship during the triangular Coca-Cola series between India, Kenya, and Bangladesh. You know, this is hardly mentioned. This is hardly mentioned, but Kenya reached the finals. They beat India and also Bangladesh during that series. And they played the finals at the famous Eden Park Garden. Okay, I'm happy to say my son Hitesh Modi batted well for his top scoring 71 in that game. Now, Asif Karim's world-class bowling performance during ICC World Cup in 2003 did not only touch the hearts of the cricketing world, but Steve Buckner, one of the finest and the world's best umpires, also was delighted. He went to congratulate Asif Karim. I have never, being me, I am umpire for 40 years. I have never seen an umpire going to the bowler to congratulate. But I'll tell you, Asif bowling performance was world-class, brilliant. And another thing you may not be aware, that the moment Asif Karim was honored with the man of the match, within a couple of hours or the next day, you know, his father was at that time being hospitalized in Mumbai hospital. The media, the TV, cameras, they visited his father in the hospital and started taking interview at the hospital. Now, it shows that Kenyan had talents, I still feel Kenya have talents and we can regain our lost glories in near future if everybody works together, put their differences aside, because we have talents for better Kenya cricket. Other performances, Steve Tikolo, one of the finest batsmen in East Africa, who has scored the highest number of runs for Kenya in the international cricket, captained the Kenya team to the semi-finals. Only the associate country to have achieved this wonderful feat. It was the Kenya's then sports minister, Honorable Mr. Najib Balala, who had gone to South Africa to support the team. And I'll tell you, I don't know whether you are aware of his good gesture by the government, that he told all the cricketers, you can import the cars up to, I think, 1800 cc. I don't know. Asif, can you tell me whether 1600 cc or 1800 cc? You can import the car and you do not have to pay any import duty. Okay, so these are the few of the things, because Mr. Sharad Rao has covered most of the cricketers. Like, we know we had good cricketers, like J.B. Jala, who took the wicket of Pakistan's great Hanif Mohammad on the very first delivery. And that moment is still being remembered. Zawahir Shah scored 136 and 96 against a very strong Indian team at Nairobi Gymkhana. Akhil Lakhani, when he came back from England, he scored about 16 centuries in a row in Nairobi against the top clubs. You know, these are some of the records I have cherished in my heart. And I would also like to, with your permission, if you allow me to thank certain associations, I would like to thank them, please, because without their support, I would not have achieved success. Can I please thank?
It's a spotlight, sir. Yes, it's a spotlight, sir. You're welcome. I
would like to, I'm really grateful to the following associations, my own association, Kenya Cricket Umpires and Scorer Association. You know, this association was formed in 1958. Kenya Cricket Association, Coast Cricket Association, Rift Valley Cricket Association, Africa Cricket Association, especially Mr. Hussein Ayub, Mr. Qasim Suleiman, Mr. Graham Macmillan, and my good friend, Mr. Girish Ramakrishnan. ICC head office, you know, this office now, head office is in Dubai, but formerly it was at Lord's, small office. And I had the opportunity of then meeting Mr. Clive Hitchcock, a very hardworking man, and he is presently the senior operation manager at ICC. And all the clubs, officials, groundsmen, scorers, well-wishers, supporters, and my family, and not forgetting my beloved wife. Because without my wife, I don't think I would have been doing umpiring for 40 years. So and finally, Almighty God, with his blessings, I have had success in my life. And I'll tell you one thing, in my 40 years of career, I must have done few mistakes in my umpiring, but those mistakes made me a better umpire. And last but one, my respected Lohana community, they have also supported me a lot, encouraged me a lot. And I was the captain of Lohana team for 14 years. So I'm really grateful to all these people. And for
thank you very much.
Yes. So Mr.
Thank you for sharing that with us, sir.
So thank you for your patience, and thank you for the patients who are also on the Zoom meeting.
You're very welcome, sir. And now I believe that we have some distinguished panelists here who would like to say a few words with regard to you, Mr. Modi. Each will take about maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Again, in the interest of time, I kindly request that people be as brief as possible. And the first person is going to be Mr. Asif Karim, who is the former Kenya cricket captain and a well-known global cricketing personality. Mr. Karim.
Thank you, Chris. My association with Subhash Modi is almost 40 years now, and the relationship that we have enjoyed is something that is very special. I was a very young cricketer when I got to know him. I think I was about 22, 23 years old when I first had an opportunity where he umpired. And since then, we established a very good rapport during the matches, have a good discussion on various matters on the matches, on cricket matters. And you could see that the passion that he had and the love for the sport. And I'm so proud and glad to see his achievements over the years, that as Kenyan cricket progressed, he also progressed individually. I mean, he's one of the finest umpires in this country over the years. He was appointed in the 1998 Commonwealth Games, where he accompanied when I was captaining the team. He was umpiring at the games. And also at the unique 1999 World Cup in England, where he talked about meeting the Queen and all that. But more important, I think he's very passionate about the sport. He is very optimistic in what he does. His public relation has been excellent in whatever he does. He does it with his heart. But again, people have not understood him, that when he sees something not correct, he equally does speak his mind, which gives you a very objective and a fair reasoning with somebody that looks at all things objectively. But he's a very optimistic person, a very passionate, and I know he's hurting big time right now, like many of us on where cricket is right now. But every time I speak to him, he keeps on having a hope. And I still feel that he should be involved in the cricket administration with this vast experience, with this vast network that he has created over the years. And more importantly, he loves the sport. Finally, I just want to wish him good health, continued good health with his family, to enjoy his retirement in cricket. But retirement doesn't mean everything stops. He's always there available to listen and to give advice. And so I wish him continued good health and a lovely time ahead. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Karim. The second person I'm going to call upon to give his views and thoughts and opinions on Mr. Modi is Mr. Rajab Ali, former Kenya international cricketer and a chairman of Kenya Past Cricketers Reunion. Mr. Rajab Ali, please take the stage, sir.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to say something about the legend of Kenya cricket. And it is a privilege to play and bowl from his end. I've watched him play cricket when I was about 5 or 7 years old. And he always gave us good advice after the game, guided us all the time. He's a legend. And it's a privilege to even work with him and on our committee with him and Sandeep. He's the person who encouraged me when I floated the idea of doing the Past Cricketers Reunion. He says, Rajab, brilliant idea, please go ahead. And I told him, no, I'll only do it if you help me. And then he brought Sandeep, a brilliant guy, Sandeep Shah, on board. We got everybody together, and it was a success. Past Cricketers Reunion. And until today, I still respect him and call him legend. I don't call him by his name. And it's an honor to be part of his Zoom meeting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And the third person I'm going to call upon now is Dr. Kulbir Gupta, former Tanzania international cricket umpire, former Tanzania Cricket Association official, and a respected cricket writer. Dr. Gupta, please.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome, sir.
For giving me the floor. It is said that before marrying, someone should listen long and hard to the sounds of the chewing when they chew their food, because that's the soundtrack to the rest of your life. But when it comes to Subhash Modi, by being on the field of play for more than 40 years, I think besides his commitment, besides being conscious and conscientious, and if I were to use the words the adverbs and the adjectives, they all are with D. And the dignity, the decorum, the deference, the dedication, and the discernment of play in C2, meaning awareness for all situations on the field of play. I can speak as an umpire for Subhash Bhai. And Subhash Bhai and Chort Das Modi ji played cricket for Kenya in 1969. And there is a parallelism that runs probably with me here, hand in hand with the facet of umpiring. Now, there have been individuals in this group who spoke about, especially Sharad Bhai Rao, who covered the canvas of cricket in such a comprehensive way. And I must congratulate him for his delivery. They spoke about the laying down of the turf, the grass turf wicket. Now, if we go back to Subhash Bhai, you see the growth and the evolution of the game taking place hand in hand with umpiring. If you take the first wicket or the first surface of, say, cricket playing surface, if you take that, it would be laid down with a coir carpet of coconut, from coconut coir. Then came the jute carpet. Probably we had to bring it or buy it from Bangladesh at that time. At that time, it was East Pakistan. And then came the AstroTurf, in which, of course, Subhash Bhai acquainted himself in Malaysia. And last but not the least is the current grass turf wicket. So what I'm saying in short is that Subhash Modi, alongside with his colleagues, has seen the evolution, the growth of cricket in East and Central Africa in a very, very passionate way. That is what I wanted to stress about. The other thing is, the other thing, if you allow me just a little bit more, I know I'm time bound. We have a situation where my wife was being considered or treated for her impacted molar. So I, being a dentist, was treating her, and it was in my cubicle in the Muhimbili Medical Center. This was many years ago. And at night, my boss, Dr. Clement Luhanga, who is now based in Botswana, turned up suddenly. He did not tell me anything. After the surgery was over, he took me to his cubicle and he said, Kulbir, what am I here for? It's your wife being handled and you are doing a surgical disimpaction on her. It's not right. I should have told him. So in this context, Subhash Bhai, I know he sought advice from his superior or senior colleagues, but then I was wondering, Subhash Bhai, what would have happened? I mean, would you have liked to be at the striker's position more at that time, or just be as a bowler's umpire then when you adjudged your son LBW? And last but not the least, Subhash Bhai, I value your camaraderie, I value your friendship, and I value your inter-exchange of personal views. I wish you well. Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And I'll now move on to Mr. Harshad Patel, former Kenya international cricketer. Mr. Patel, kindly give us a few words on your thoughts, opinions, views on Mr. Modi's illustrious career. Is Mr. Patel with us?
Trying to unmute.
Mr. Harshad Patel? You're on mute, sir. Mr. Patel, you're on mute. You're on mute. He has to unmute himself.
Chris, can I say something?
Yes, you can.
Chris, I forgot to say also a big thank you to my company, former company Ogilvy and Mather, which I joined in 1970, and having worked with them, Ogilvy and Mather East Africa Limited,
okay,
for nearly 40 years. They were very supportive of my cricket and my cricket umpiring. So I would like to thank Ogilvy and Mather, especially Mr. Kome Mambia, the CEO of Ogilvy and Mather. Thank you very much, Ogilvy and Mather.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Patel.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
All right. Right. Me and Subhash Modi started playing cricket when I was living in Nagara near Aryagazpur. And we used to play with tennis ball. And our wicket was the city council dustbin. You know, we couldn't afford a cricket bat those days. So we used to get a piece of plank, you know, make a little handle. And that's how we started playing cricket. And slowly, we used to look at, went to see matches. We couldn't afford to pay the ground fees. So we used to climb on the trees and all that at Nairobi Gymkhana and all that. And later on, when there was international matches, because there were so many hedges and things like that, we used to make way. Before the match started, we used to do a recce and how to get into the ground and all that. And slowly, we started playing for clubs. We started doing scoring. And the best part was we used to get free teas from after the match, whatever sandwiches were left over and all that. And then me and Subhash Modi got into Nagara Sports Club to play cricket, you know, and we used to meet at the VP petrol station, I think it was Nagara, and we used to get lifts to the ground and all that, and slowly we turned into cricketers, you know. And me and Subhash were, before we turned to cricket, we were in the same school together. So we studied at Nagara Secondary School, Highway Secondary School, and later on I think I went to study abroad, and Subhash started playing cricket in Nairobi. Then first we decided that we must go for a better club to play cricket, you know. And so we didn't get much opportunity to play much in Nagara Sports Club and all. So we decided, shall we leave this Nagara Sports Club and join Premier Club, which was one of the better clubs that time. So we both joined together, and they were a bit strict there at Patel Club because you had to attend 3 nets, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If you missed out any of those nets, you would not be selected for a Saturday. And slowly we made our way out. Me and Subhash played cricket together, and later on, me and Subhash were selected to play for Kenya team in the quadrennial tournament in Zambia. And the rest is history, as Subhash has already told you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you very much. And last but by no means least, we have Mr. Sandeep Shah, former Vice Chairman, Outdoor Sports Secretary of Nairobi Gymkhana, former official of Nairobi Provincial Cricket Association, and Secretary Treasurer of Kenya Past Cricketers Reunion. Mr. Shah?
Hi, Chris.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Chris, my association with Mr. Subhash Modi goes for almost 25 years plus, but he's more associated with my father because my father used to play cricket during his time. And Subhash has worked under my convenership at a lot of junior tournaments, cricket tournaments, which were organized at Nairobi Gymkhana. Some have been tournaments, some of these tournaments which we organized, you can compare them to the ICC standard also, thanks to Subhash Modi also. And currently, we are working on the past cricketers reunion, and he has been a coordinator and our PRO main person. For the past 40 years, he has been doing umpiring with dedication, discipline, and sincerity, not only at the local level, but also at the international level.
Yes.
So you can imagine what Subhash Modi is made of. He's a well-known and a highly respected personality in Kenya and even abroad. But in Kenya, I can talk on Kenya because everybody knows Subhash Modi.
Yes.
And one thing is, he had the honor of umpiring 22 ODIs and 9 2020 matches in different parts of the world. That's a fantastic achievement. And with that, we need to even congratulate him for such achievements. But he's still retiring at a young age. I would still consider him, he can still continue for another 10, 12 years. One of the finest, and currently probably is one of the finest and the best cricketer PRO person Kenya will ever see. And he still continues doing his PRO. With this, I would like to wish him all the best in his future endeavors. And we are always here to assist him in whatever he requires. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, there you have it. You've had some very moving and touching tributes to the man of the moment for this evening. That has been none other than Mr. Subhash Modi. We've had tributes from Mr. Asif Karim. We've had tributes from Mr. Rajab Ali. We've had tributes from Dr. Kulbir Gupta. We've had tributes from Mr. Harshad Patel and Mr. Sandeep Shah. And now I'm going to hand over to none other than the chairman of this esteemed forum, Mr. Razakara, to please give us a few words before we are able to. Okay, please hold. Yes, Mr. Modi. Yes.
Chris, I forgot one also cricketing wonderful moment.
Okay.
I also wanted to thank Mr. and Mrs. Sudhir Vidyarthi of Kalapring and also Travelo. Okay. Mrs. Nana Vidyarthi of Travelo, she gave me the honor of managing the tour to the World Cup cricket in 1996 because Mr. Vipin Khanna from England could not make it as a tour coordinator. So Mr. Sudhir Vidyarthi and Nana approached me that Modi, because of your cricketing experience, we would like you to give you this honor to manage our the group which is going to watch the World Cup in progress. And I felt that was another great honor, and I'm also grateful to Mr. Sudhir and Nana Vidyarthi of Travelo and Kalapri. So, there are so many golden opportunities cricket have given all of us. And I also like to, I know Mr. Raza is going to thank everybody, but Mr. Raza, keep up the great work you are doing with your son, and Mr. Asif Karim, Mr. Rajab Ali, Mr. Harshad Patel, Mr. Sandeep Shah, and our well-known, I would say another cricketing, these are all cricketing personalities, Kulbir Singh from Tanzania and USA. I had honor of umpiring with Kulbir also. And Dr. Gupta missed an opportunity to officiate in the ICC trophy in Nairobi in 1994 due to his some commitment. So all great personalities. I'm also grateful to Mr. Raza for also getting you on board, Mr. Chris Kamau. It is something, I would say, very, very important to have different type of people. And Mr. Raza has actually not only is doing work for Canada, but he's doing work for East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and for world cricket, because he's not only covering East Africa, he has got a lot of subjects to share with, So yes, we say thank you to everyone, and please do apologize me if I have missed out something. May God bless you
thank you
all.
very much.
Stay well and do well.
Thank you. And just before I hand over to the chairman, a very special thanks also to Senior Counsel Sharad Rao. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence and your wonderful, 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 always amazing tales, because you've lived such a rich life. It's history, but for you it has been basically it was your present, which is in the past, that you're always so keen to share with us, and we thank you very much for that, sir. And now, without any further ado, I shall hand over to the chairman himself. Sir, kindly take over the forum.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome, sir.
So much has been said, so many tributes have been paid to the illustrious gentlemen who have adorned our program today. I wish there were more participants today, but those who have not come have missed something, because the program, the narration, the presentation of Sharad Rao was really wonderful. It was so fluid, it was so lucid, and at times so humorous, you know, and not forgetting that there were so many facts and figures that we probably even didn't know. So thank you very much, Sharad, Sharad Bhai, Sharad, Your Honor, or Sharad Ji, whatever. Thank you very much for that, and thank you for having accepted our invitation, and we will remember you, and you remember us also. But before that, let me also thank all the participants, the 20 odd participants who were here. We hope that you have enjoyed. I mean, I have thoroughly enjoyed this program, and I hope that you will be with us again, and encourage other people to join such programs. It is so very important that we go back into the history of cricket in East Africa and expose things that we don't even know, you know. So it's wonderful. So thank you so much. Subhash, evergreen Subhash Modi, I have known him since 1964. It's been long time, you know. He used to play for, I don't know, was it Kachewar or Premier or whatever, and I used to play for Govan Gymkhana in Nairobi. Anyway, you batted very well against Chris Kamau's bouncers. You know that? Huh? But I'll give you one advice, Subhash. You know, you have got so much accumulation of facts, figures, and everything on cricket. Your own career, the cricket in Kenya, in East Africa, world over, that you should now start, since you have retired, occupy yourself now with producing a coffee table book. Is that coffee table book? Is that what they call? Like the one that Karim had produced.
Yes.
I think it will be a wonderful gesture, you know. You start now, and we hope that you live longer so that you finish it in good time. So take that advice from me. Okay, all those who spoke about Subhash in so many words and so praiseworthy words were given. We are grateful to you all, and we hope that you also continue with this. Mohammed Kara, as always, for taking care of the technical side with attractive slides and timely sharing of pictures and videos. Asif Karim, where are you, Asif? Why don't you show your face? I want to know, what are you afraid of?
I'm very much around.
Look, I can tell you are still as handsome as that, yeah? You're as handsome as before, so don't worry. So show us your face. Now, I tell you one thing, Asif, I'm sorry to tell, Mr. Moderator, I'm sorry. You have given time to everybody, so you'll have to give me time. I know it is beyond our time, but Asif, you are now turning gradually into your father's image now, you know, as you age with your handsome and all that. Okay, so I will say, Asif, you were with me each step of arranging for this program, and I'm so grateful. I'm so ever grateful to you for that, and standing by me, as if you have stood by me, and I hope that you stand by me. Unfortunately, always. I don't see Nur Ali Nasser here, but Nur Ali Nasser is one of our great supporters, and he also provides us with some pictures here and there. Okay, so thank you very much, Nur Ali Nasser. Now, am I missing something here? Asif, am I missing something? Anybody? Subhash?
No, you're good. No, you covered it very well.
I think I'm missing something.
We can wind up.
I'm missing something. Come on, man. I
You
haven't
have
thanked Chris
thank
Kamau.
yourself. Thank yourself.
I haven't thanked Chris Kamau.
Of course, Mr. Kamau.
How so bad of me? But I have a reason for it, Kamau. Chris,
That was a googly.
I
That
have
was
a
a
reason
googly.
for it, and I'm going to surprise you. Okay.
Mr. Raza, that was a googly.
Just it's a googly. It's a wonderful googly, and you won't believe this. You won't believe this. Okay, so we have not been able to justifiably introduce Chris Kamau. Okay, we already know that he's Chris Kamau and what is it. But Chris Kamau is an arts, communication, entertainment, and a media practitioner with more than 15 years experience in radio, stage, and television. He has traveled extensively internationally and channels the rich diversity of global experience, bringing a fresh, edgy, multicultural perspective to his work. Now, this show doesn't end there, Chris. You are going to be surprised. Now, you know, Chris' frustration with media and communications and whatever you have started at a very, very young age. I don't know, you remember, it's your history. But I will read this out from one of the magazines that had interviewed you. And it says here, it was in 1984, Chris. It was in 1984. Listen to this, listen to this. During the Blue Band margarine campaign in Kenya, that an unknown, smiling 11-year-old became a household image in East Africa by appearing on the Blue Band tin, holding a slice of bread with popular spread. Can we have the picture, please? And that is it.
East African Industries.
That is Chris Kamau at 14 years.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, so Chris, thank you very much for moderating for us today. And please,
you're very welcome.
You must be since you are in this communications and media and all that, bring this to the notice of the Wananchi. We want Wananchi on this program. We want Wahindi sasa tumekwisha sasa. Our times have gone. We want Africa to come into this community. So that's about Chris Kamau and all that. And I think I have said enough, and I won't take much more time. But I thank you again once again. I thank you all, and with that I will say kwaheri, goodbye, aujo, and stay safe. And I will request my son Tanvir to close the session and stop the recording. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Bana Raza, Bana Kamau, Mr. Rao, Mr. Karim, Mr. Tanvir. Thank you. And all the